So does anyone have any wins from the last couple weeks? I've used that story structure myself a few times for a few presentation videos, and I seem to having that structure in place makes things really easy to guide people through a journey. So has anybody started to apply any of that yet? Not yet. Okay.
Give us a quick brief um, example how you used it this week then.
So what I did when I was doing those presentations with the Soil Saviors group is we put together a webinar, like what I call the perfect pitch, and within that I bring up the false beliefs that people have about certain things, and then in order to break those beliefs, I use that story structure. And so we did and you guys will have that training I did as well, the perfect pitch. So within that, you bring up, people believe this. And then I kind of cued Dr. Will to tell a story about how he came to the realization that that was actually not true, or how he learned it from a mentor or through experimentation. And so I would bring up something, he would tell a story that he believed that, how he overcame it, and then what happened after. And so our pitch was really like 3 sets of those story frameworks to break beliefs. And so I got Guillermo's editing those now. So I'll share that with everybody so you can kind of see how to put together that pitch and how those stories shape beliefs and inspire action. Does that help?
We've all got our own story, and it's just been able to tell you in the right way, isn't it? Yeah, that's what this evening's about, really. It's about, and it's, I was speaking to Jasmine today, and I said, look, any ideas for this evening? And she said, what about reconnecting with that authentic inner voice and kind of blotting out the white noise that goes on in our head. So really today is going to be just about taking you into a nice space and just giving you the time. Because I think over the years, what happens is there are so many other voices in our head, people who say something and it affects us, and maybe people we admire or people we respect or people we care about, and we take it on board. And I was thinking today when I was thinking about this, it's like if you set off on a journey, but every so often there's a fork in the road, and you take one of those forks, then there's another fork, and before you know it, you're so far away from where you originally started. That's what's going on in my head today, from who you truly are. And I think what I want you to do is kind of give us the time to come back to maybe a time in our life when we knew who we were, and we kind of get sidetracked and moved off that path. I'm not explaining it in the best way here, but that's my thinking on this. To just take the time today to think about who you are, what truly makes you happy. What is it that makes you happy? Because for me, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what you've got or who you're with or how you look or how much you weigh or any of those things that we kind of put values on if we're not happy. And so just thinking about what is it that absolutely makes you happy, what would make you happy, what has made you happy in the past, and maybe think about times when we absolutely knew we were loved or we felt love for someone else. Bring us back to that moment, to reconnect with that voice that's there when we're in our silence, if you like. And there's so much noise going on, isn't there, when you think about it, all the stuff, especially now, right at this point in time. I don't think, and I've been around a long time, I don't think there's ever been a time where the whole world is confused. The whole world seems to be just not knowing what's going to happen economically, whether, I don't think there's ever been a time when there's been more genuine threat to everybody in the world. I just think we're at a time when that, for me anyway, and I've been around for a long time. So I think all that noise that's going on outside of ourselves, now we can't, the things we can't do anything about in reality, but to have a time out to kind of shut that white noise off and then come back to that inner voice, that inner truth that we know who we are. And so we can be in that place of happiness, if you like, no matter what's going on around us and without being affected by it. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Because that's what I'm going to, that's my goal for everyone this evening. You know, Nick's here, you know, and he's going to help you through goal setting and the way, you know, when it comes to sales and increasing our material goals in our life, you know, and our emotional goals. But he has a much better structured plan than me. What I want for you this evening is to take the time out to go back to what's truly makes you happy. And it might be because we all strive for different things, don't we? But asking ourselves the question, why am I striving for maybe more money or more material things? What is that about? Yes, I know there's security in having money. There's, you know, that's it for me. I mean, it's the ability to have the time to learn things without, you know, those things were important to me. But why? Those are the questions I'm going to ask you to ask yourself this evening. What is it that truly makes you happy? If everything else was gone, and this is what I say, if tomorrow you woke up and all your material things are gone, who are you, and what are you when all of that's taken away from you? And to get back to that this evening, back to that reconnecting with that inner voice, you know, the one that truly knows who you are, and try and eliminate all of the other clutter that comes in. Our brains like our computers, and if you think about all the cookies and I don't know what the malware and I don't understand that just comes in when we open a website and we click on it. Yeah, okay, accept that, accept that. And before we know it, our computer's cluttered with this stuff. And I think that's how our brain is at times. You know, there's so much stuff going on everywhere we look. Turn on the TV, turn on the radio. Our head's so full of other stuff. And I want you this evening to have the time just to clear it. You know, I think what we'll do, I don't know if we've done it for you before, but we're going to do a defrag of your brain. How many of you have ever defragged your computer? Yeah. You know, and you press that button, that defrag button, and you see all those lines come up, you know, blue and white and red lines. And then as you watch it, you can see all the stuff that you haven't looked at for years, the stuff that's been placed on there, all disappearing until there's only a few lines left. And those lines are the things on your computer that you need to achieve what you want to achieve. It's the same with our brain. If you think something like 2,000 pieces of information every hour coming into our brain. And that's what happens when we sleep. When we sleep, your unconscious mind is defragging that. And providing you're getting decent sleep, that's why it's so important to sleep. That's what REM sleep does. You know, we have those wild dreams, but really what your brain's doing is just clearing all that stuff that you've heard and you've seen, but you haven't really registered, but it's gone in somewhere. So that when you wake up in the morning, all you're left with is the things you need to survive the next day. But sometimes I say, if you don't get enough sleep, some of that stuff just keeps cluttering up. So today we're going to defrag your brain, take you to that place of peace where you can just be for a while. You know, I've been really busy, strangely enough, partly because I'm into this AI stuff now and I'm really fascinated by it. And I'm thinking, what can I create with this stuff? So, you know, but I thought to myself, I caught myself today and I said to myself, you know, are you a human being or are you a human doing? And at the time, I was just being a human doing. I'm just doing stuff, you know, instead of just taking the time out to be. So that's where I'm going to take you all tonight. Today, I'm not going to focus on. Nick's going to take you through the story stuff next week, get you back on track with focusing on the things you want to achieve in your life. And I know that's why a lot of you are here. But today, I'm just going to take you into a space where you can reconnect with your authentic self so that you can just go into that space, let go of all of the clutter that's been placed on you throughout your life, stuff that we're never going to look at again. I remember my son Anthony when he was much younger, and I think my computers are much different than they are now. And he'd come to my house and he'd say, we'd get on my computer and he'd say, when did you last look at that file? I'd go, oh, I don't know. He'd say, delete. I went, well, hold on a minute, it might be something in it I need. And he'd go through my computer just deleting stuff I hadn't looked at for months. I mean, how many emails have you got that you haven't looked at on your, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's thousands probably. And you think, well, I won't delete it because there might be something interesting in it. I watched a program. There was a program on TV in England called Something Hoarders, and they were looking at people who just hoarded stuff. And there was one guy, and it was really scary and frightening. But he's quite old. Saying that, he probably not as old as me, but he'd saved every newspaper he'd ever bought, and he had a house. And the house, honestly, he'd piled them up by the door. There was a little passage. He had so many newspapers he couldn't walk. He made like a passage, and all the stairs were covered. Every room was full of newspapers, and he'd left with a little place where he sat with a Bunsen burner, cooking his breakfast because he couldn't get into his kitchen. And the guys who were there, obviously, he had like psychiatrists, and they said, "Look, let me just take some of these papers out. This one from 1946." He went, "Oh no." He said, there might be something in there that I'd missed, that I didn't read. He was so scared that he'd missed something. And I think that's what we're like when we think about clearing our mind out. What if we clear something and it's something I need? I know that's what I look at when I'm going to go on my computer. I'm going to clear all these files out, all these photos and all the stuff that just now is just jammed up with. And you think, oh, I might need that. I'll save that. Yeah, I think I've got something like 5,000 emails on my, I know. I keep thinking, well, I better not delete them all because there might be one in there I haven't read, I missed. And I think that's what it's like with our brains. So I want you this evening just do a defrag and allow yourself to do it. I know Caitlin's looking a bit anxious about this. What if I delete something I might need? What if there's something I could go back to? But just so I promise you this. This is what I believe about the unconscious mind. It will never let you do anything that's detrimental to you. I think that's when people say, what about hypnosis and what if someone makes me do something I don't want to do? I don't believe that ever's going to happen because your unconscious mind, its main goal above everything else is survival. And it's not going to let you do anything that's detrimental to you. So trust your unconscious mind knows what you can live without. And if it decides to delete something, just let it go and see what happens. All right, everyone ready to get into this? It'd be a much shorter experience tonight, or not. I don't know. Nick might have a little story he wants to tell you. Maybe not. He wants to get into it himself. Look, he's as bad as the rest of you when it comes to having this getting into trance. But Blan's already gone.
Sometimes we all just need to be hypnotized, Freddie. It's one of those
I
days.
think we all need to be hypnotized again and again.
I'm glad to be on the receiving end today. So
I'm going to take you into the most deep state of hypnosis. If you find yourself kind of disappearing and you think, I haven't heard what you said, let that go because your unconscious mind will be around to hear. I'm going to take you into that space where you can just let go of your physical being because we know it's not us, don't we? Do we not? Yeah. You're much more than your body. You're much more than your name because that was given to you as well. And we're going to take to that space of freedom where and I'm going to take you on a little trip where we can find that inner voice, and then we can let go of everything that's not that. Just take this time out for you today, all right? Are there any questions before we get into this? Any suggestions for what you want me to install in your mind while you're in there? No? Good. And allow your own body to do any healing that it might need as well. Doreen, when you smile like that, Doreen, I'm always a bit worried if you're going to ask me to install something that shouldn't be installed. So there's no point in looking at me like that, because I know how your mind ticks. All right, ready? Get yourselves comfortable. Look on this as a timeout. Understand that while we're together, you're all that matters to me. I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful in everything you want to do. So when you're ready, just make sure your hands and your feet aren't crossed. And when you're ready to do this, just take a breath in, hold it for a moment. As you breathe out, just let it like a sigh. It's the end of the day or whatever it is, and just let it go. Do that a couple of times and let your body relax, let your mind relax. That's right. Because with the eyes closed, you can begin to relax. Although at times you may be more aware of some things than you were before. The sound of my voice, the comfort of the chair, the sounds in the room, certain sensations, the beating of your heart, and the thoughts and images that drift into the mind automatically. Just for a moment, think about some of the friends you've had throughout your life. Maybe at school, your best friend at school. Maybe a friend that turned into a partner or a lover. Think about the love you've had and people that love you. Think about the friends you have now. People that appreciate you. See those faces fill out love. Think about the people whose lives are different because of you. Your words, your kindness. And as you think about those people, as you fill out love, notice that every limiting belief starts to fall away from you. Because with the eyes closed, it becomes easier to become more and more aware of a variety of things that otherwise may go overlooked or ignored. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, and the alteration of awareness as the mind begins that gradual letting go. That's right. Letting go even of the effort it takes to be aware of exactly where the arms are positioned, or the hands or fingers. Even the effort it takes to be aware of which leg seems to relax more quickly or completely than the other may seem to be too much effort to bother making. But it takes time to experience that letting go. Your own time in your own way. As you continue to learn even more than before about your abilities, your capacities to learn as you relax. And the mind begins to drift down toward a place of quietness. A place of peaceful inner awareness. That's right. How incredible are you? You are love, and you are loved, and you are loving. A place that almost seems to give off signals that directs awareness down toward it, into it, more and more comfortably, more and more effortlessly. Or even the effort it takes to be aware of the sound of my voice or the meaning of my words may almost seem to be too much effort to bother making. It's so much easier simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. Allowing events to occur in your own time, in your own way, are drifting down. Deeper, deeper, deeper down. Get a sense of that happening. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. Just you and the sound of my voice. Deeper, deeper, deeper down now. That's right. And as you drift in that space, my voice, my words will drift with you to become a part of your experience now. Every word I say takes you even deeper. And I want you to enjoy every moment. The deeper you go, the better you'll feel. Get a sense of that happening. And just when you think you've reached the ultimate space, a profound hypnosis and trance, my voice, my words will take you 10 times deeper. Imagine that's happening, and there's nothing you can do about that. Just dropping down through space and time, less and less aware of yourself as a physical being, but totally aware of yourself as a mind. Every word I say now doubles that feeling. And everything I say now is your reality. Every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon. At a molecular, cellular, neurological level, it's now your reality. You have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And that unconscious mind, the back of the mind, that instinctive, intuitive part of your being that's there for your survival, that's monitoring the environment, keeping you safe, that's monitoring your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your body temperature, that beats the heart, that breathes the breath, can continue to hear, understand, respond to those things I might say, without the need for you to do anything at all. It's so much easier for the conscious mind simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. That's right. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take. To tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body now that seems to drift through time and space. That wonderful free floating place of effortless relaxation and letting go. Allowing events to occur in their own time, in their own way. As you drift as a mind, how incredible is your mind? And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. Allow yourself the pleasure of going out there into the future. Think of something you'd love to do or a way you'd love to feel or something you'd love to achieve. Let go of every limitation and allow yourself the pleasure of going out into the future and see yourself achieving it. Notice the way you move. You're fit and well. You've created that life you absolutely want. Notice the way you move and the way you breathe. Step into that body. Feel into it. Get a sense of what it feels like to have created that life you truly want. To be you. Get a sense of that now and ask this question. How much fun is it? How much fun can you make that? How important is it for you? Because now you know how good you're going to feel. Everything about your nature, your mind, your body is inclined toward making it happen. Your unconscious mind wants you to be happy. It wants you to be well. And it is a superpower. The unconscious mind can allow those changes to occur while the conscious mind drifts off someplace else entirely now. That's right, in your own time, in your own way. Aware of events that occur along the way. As the unconscious mind utilizes that opportunity to alter your awareness, continue that learning in whatever way is the right way for you. Learning that feeling of letting go. Just let go. Let go of everything that is not you. Knowing that your essence is pure energy, is pure light, pure intelligence, light and love. That's who you are. And anything that's not that is not you. Get a sense of that now and let go of everything else. Every limitation. Get a sense of me standing right beside you, cutting those chains that are holding you to those things that no longer serve you. Snap. Let it go. Snap. Every limitation gone. Snap. Every irrational fear gone. Feel that lightness of being. That's right. All of those chains that were binding you to the past. Snap. And turn around. See me burning those bridges. There is no way back. There is only forward. Get a sense of that now. There's no point in looking back. Those bridges are burned, the chains are cut, and feel that thing of freedom. How incredible are you? And as you drift even deeper, just for a moment, get a sense of standing, overlooking the sea. You can see the beach in front of you, and there are 5 steps that lead down onto that beach. As I count down from 5, we're going to take those steps down onto that beach. There's no one for miles around. It's a clear blue sky day. It's not too hot. It's just one of those beautiful days. 5, going deeper and deeper now. 4, 3, smell the sea, feel the warmth of the sun. 2, 1, 0. And now we're on that sand. Feel the warmth of the sand beneath your feet. Feel that cool breeze on your face. Hear the sound of the sea as we walk along that sea, where the sea meets the shore. Leaving those footprints in the sand. Feel the coolness on your feet. And that feeling of freedom. We're going to stop for a while and just look out across that sea. That's right. Take a nice breath of that fresh sea air and just be for a moment. And notice as you stand there on that beach looking out across that sea, get a sense of everything that was placed on you, every negative word or limiting belief that was never yours. And maybe as we stand here on that beach, I want you to go back to a time in your life before the clutter, before the limitations were placed on you, whatever age you were, go back to that point in time when you absolutely knew you could do anything. Before those limitations were placed on, those negative words were placed on you. Go back to that moment in time. Maybe walk along that beach with that younger you. Feel their hand in yours. See that smile on their face. How incredible are you? And walk along that beach with that younger you and tell them everything they need to know. Tell them how beautiful they are. Tell them how incredible they are. Tell them how loved they are. Do it now. That's right. As you walk along the beach with that younger you, I want you to notice there, washed up on that beach, is a fishing boat. One of those ones you see in places like Italy and Spain, the brightly coloured fishing boats being washed up on that shore. And as you approach that boat, what you notice on your back is a rucksack. And in that rucksack is all of those limitations that were placed on you. All of the negative thoughts and limiting beliefs, every angry word, any hurt, pain, sadness, any embarrassment that was placed on you throughout your life that was never yours, because you're with that younger you and you know that that younger you is just pure light, love, energy, intelligence. And as you feel away at that rucksack, take it off your back and put it in that boat. And together, we're going to push that boat out on that next wave. Feel the coolness of the sea against your ankles. As that wave comes in, as it goes out, push and push that boat out onto that wave. See that younger you with a smile on their face as they see that boat with that bag drifting out to sea, with each wave taking it further and further away from the shore. Sit there on that beach with that younger you. Put your arm around them and just sit on that beach. Take the time now to breathe and watch that boat drifting further and further and further away. Watch as it becomes a little dot on the horizon and then disappears out of sight. That's right. Feel that thing of freedom. All that clutter gone from your mind. All those limitations gone from your mind. Have a look at that younger you. How incredible are you? Free of all those limitations. See that smile on that younger you's face. Hear that voice, full of hope, full of dreams, fearless. That's right. And get a picture of that boat in your mind, way out there on the ocean, and watch as a wave washes over it, takes it to the bottom of the ocean, and with it, all of those limitations that were being placed on you. Any hurt, pain, and sadness. And feel your mind free, like it's being washed through with clear spring water. Every block to success gone. Every limitation gone. And as you look at that younger you, get a sense of a feeling of love. A love for that younger you. Feel that thing of unconditional self-love. Know it's okay to love that younger you and to love you. Do it now. because they are you and you are they, and you can have that love now. That's right. You are love. You are loved. You are loving. How incredible are you? It's time to reconnect with that authentic inner voice that believed, that had hope, that was just pure light and love. Feel it once again. Feel it lighting you up, lifting you up, taking you into that place. Perfect peace. Take that younger you by the hand and continue to walk down that beach. Feel that freedom now. Once again, just stop together. Look out across that sea. And just go into that place of silence for a moment where you can just be in touch with you, free of all the white noise now. How incredible are you? That's right. Get a sense of that feeling in the core of your being. You are pure energy. You are pure intelligence, light and love. That is your birthright. And anything that's not that is not you. That's right. Get a sense of it now. Think about what you truly want, what will truly make you happy. Allow yourself that pleasure. What will truly make you happy. And then for a moment, think about all the things that Nicholas has been teaching over these last few weeks and months. The skills, the beliefs, and think just for a moment, how can you use those skills and those beliefs to create that life that you truly want? Who are you when no one else is around? Who are you without any material things? Who are you? And notice that the person that's left is already a whole being. That what's left when all the material things have gone is pure energy, pure intelligence, light and love. With that understanding, you can go and achieve, you can go and create, but knowing that you're already a whole being, you can appreciate the material things in your life without needing them. You can appreciate being loved without needing to be loved. And get a sense of that feeling of freedom when you understand you're already a whole being. You're already good enough. You're already the most incredible creation. And feel that new understanding taking place in your body. Tell that younger you just how incredible they are. Tell them it's okay to be you. As we walk back over to those steps, feel that feeling of freedom. Feel that feeling of love. Your mind free of the clutter that was collected there over those years. Imagine that's happened. All of that stuff's now at the bottom of that ocean. And all that's left is a feeling of freedom, an understanding of what it is that's going to make you happy, and knowing you already have all the skills you need to make it happen. You have all the resources you need, all the inner strength and intelligence to make that happen. Now we're at the bottom of those 5 steps. I want you once again, just look at that younger you. See that smile on that younger you's face. How incredible are you? Once again, tell them anything they need to know for them to have the life they truly want. And then say goodbye. And as I count from 1 to 5, we're going to walk up those steps. And every step, that thing of freedom is going to grow. That lightness of being. 1, being incredible. 2, to create the life you want, but do it from a place of happiness and freedom and love. 3, being of freedom from all of the clutter. So now you can think clearly. You can see clearly. That's right. 2, to be and know it's okay to be you. You're really the most incredible creation. 1, a wonderful feeling of clarity. And now we're at the top of those steps. And you can see that younger you on that beach. Smile on their face. That's right. Go over it with your unconscious mind as often as you need to know that you can and you will achieve those things you want to achieve in your life. But now you can do it from a place of freedom, a lightness of being, a place where there is no stress, where you can appreciate without needing and feel that lightness of being when that occurs. Only when your unconscious mind knows and has made those changes at a molecular, cellular, neurological level and allows the conscious mind accept the changes made. Because in a moment I'm going to count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon. On 8, your eyes will open and you will feel that thing of freedom, like you had a ton weight lifted, like you see clear, moments of clarity, freedom. And on 10, that new understanding that you're already a whole being. You're already the most incredible creation. You're already love. And now you can go and achieve, create without needing to appreciate those things that happen for you in your life. To appreciate being loved without needing to be loved. To appreciate achieving without needing to achieve. And that thing's going to grow stronger day by day. So get ready as I count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon. Just before we start counting, just once again, see that younger you with a smile on their face. How incredible are you? How incredible are you? 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. 2, to create the life you want, do it from a place of joy and happiness. 3, freedom from every limiting belief. 4, feel a force of that new understanding and energy and love flooding through your body and mind. 5, being incredibly alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening with a lightness of being and a feeling of freedom. 9, 10. Hope you enjoyed the trip to the beach. We're all going to do it together one day. Nick's organising it. I know he is. He hasn't told me yet. He's going to keep it a secret, but I'm sure one day ourselves got a really nice house, villa on a nice sandy beach with clear blue skies and beautiful sea. And we're all going to meet up. I'm going to have some time there. It'd be great. Okay, well, look, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, I mean it when I say it. You are loved. You are loved. You are loving. Hold that thought. You know, it's easy to get swayed off it, but those words are going to resonate in your mind, stay with you, while you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, and expect the best to happen. Okay, you all right there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the words to come back.
I think Nick panics when I go silent. When I say, you know, you're drifting through time and space, I'm looking at all of you because I've got you on a gallery view. And when I go quiet for a few seconds, he goes, "Is he still there or is he gone?"
Oh, during the hypnosis, I was checking to make sure nobody was trying to log in. That's what I was doing.
Well, I'll keep an eye on that. Don't worry. You should relax. Be more Freddy. All right. Look, it's lovely to see you all. Hopefully, I'll see you. Hopefully, I won't see you next Thursday because by then I'll have a new heart, a new upgrade. But I will see you maybe in a couple of weeks' time. All right. So, in the meantime, you know, enjoy that freedom. And look, Sarah's already on the beach. If I'd known that, I would have just joined her there. So,
Yeah, join me on the beach. You guys should come to Florida. I can help organize an event.
Where are you?
yeah,
What part?
I'm in West Palm Beach. It's about an
Yeah,
hour north of Miami.
sure. Spent a lot of
Beautiful.
time there.
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. All right. Okay. Well, look, unless anyone's got any questions or anything else, you know, I think we'll say goodnight. It's a bit of an early night, I think. It's not that bad. She's 5'2" anyway. It's 5 to 10.
Oh, Freddie, I have a story about a guy I hypnotized at the gym if anybody wants to hear that.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
So I was sitting in the sauna talking to another guy about, like, what do you do kind of thing. And so I was telling him about it. And this third guy in there was like, oh, can you help someone change a habit? And I was like, yeah, I knew he was talking about himself. I was like, what do you want to change? And so he brought up that he wanted to stop smoking weed. And so I ran him through the rapid belief change process we went over last week, where I was like, oh, what do you think you get from smoking weed? And he said, oh, I'm just, more relaxed. And I don't know, he said a couple things. And so I said, oh, after you smoke weed and you get behind on stuff, or asked him why he wanted to quit smoking. And then I tied back how smoking actually makes him less relaxed and doesn't accomplish the goals he wants. And then I asked him, I'm trying to remember what I did with him. I did a little bit of parts work and conversation, and he had these two parts. Like, one of them didn't really want to quit smoking and the other did. And so he wasn't at the point where he was really at threshold. So what I did with him is I had him agree to be a non-smoker for 2 weeks. And so that was what I was going into hypnosis with that agreement. Like, oh, you could probably imagine being a non-smoker for 2 weeks, right? And then I knew once I started hypnotizing him, I was going to give him suggestions to just stay a non-smoker. So I had his hand stick, and he was like one of those guys that just, like, his eyes stopped blinking and his jaw dropped, even just talking about the idea of hypnosis. So in about a minute, I had his hand stuck to the bench, and then I started giving him a bunch of suggestions to become a non-smoker, and his subconscious mind will take over that process. And then I was doing a bunch of future pacing about how good it was going to feel and how he may just decide to be a non-smoker forever. So I'm doing a bunch of embedded commands. And I was like, and your hand is only going to lift as quickly as you become a non-smoker. And so then I gave that suggestion a few times. So he was looking at his hand, and I could see like all the muscles in his arms were like firing and twitching. And he was like really trying to lift it, and his eyes were like this. And so it took him about 10 or 15 seconds, and eventually he lifted it. And as he was lifting it, I just started to give a bunch of suggestions for for amnesia and then just future pacing the decision to be a non-smoker forever and a bunch of stuff like that. And so I'm waiting to hear back. We'll see how it went.
He's done. It sounds like he's done. Yeah.
He was so deep into it, and that I think he's gonna have the results. So I got his number. I'm gonna text him in a few days and see.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's done, but it's such a good feeling to be able to just pull something out of the bag like that when you're in one of those impromptu situations. I know most of you know the story, but we were in Las Vegas, Nick and I, Hypno Thoughts Live last year, and we were going up in the lift, and there was a guy there saying, you know, what are you here for? What are you doing? Nick said, well, we're doing a presentation with Hypno Thoughts Live. And this guy said, well, I'd love to be able to stop smoking and stop gambling. I think drinking and gambling.
Drinking, yeah.
So he had this poor guy stood up in the hall, outside of his room, about 5 minutes, and this guy's done. He hasn't drunk, he hasn't gambled ever since. So, the people who own the casino are still looking for Nick. They got a hit out on him because he's making them all lose a lot of money.
Freddie, one of the things I learned from you is, you were always like, I just have people do the magnetic fingers. And for me, I'm like, I want to learn all these different techniques. But what I'm finding is that the hand stuck thing is such a great way, because I'm starting to get like, I've done it enough that I've got a bunch of different language patterns for them to really have the experience. And I've practiced reframing if it quote unquote doesn't work. I've got visual fixation, I've got a kinesthetic feeling, and I pre-frame it in a way that everybody wants to experience it. And so you really don't need that many strategies to give someone a hypnotic experience. If you do the same thing over and over again a couple dozen times, you master it. And in the middle of his hand stuck, like, of course he's going to believe that anything else can happen because he's so fixated on that experience.
Well, that's the thing. What I'm thinking is this: whether you do a finger lock, you do a hand stick, or you suggest anything where they have the experience of it. So that guy with his hand stuck, what people don't realize is that at that point he is following your suggestion, and if he's following your suggestion to the point he can't lift his hand or he can't pull his hands apart, if your next suggestion is that the need for a cigarette or the need to smoke will be gone, they're going to find that suggestion. So that's how powerful it is. And if you can create an emotion, then, even more so. It can be dodgy if you're in a sauna.
We were talking in the sauna, and then I did it when we were out of the sauna.
It's not normal, my normal office environment, but it works. Yeah. So
it's fun to be able to do stuff at any time. I was actually, so when we were at the jailhouse doing the business workshop, I did the hand stick thing with those guys. And Freddie, I put myself into the most psychedelic, eye-open experience of hypnosis for me in a few minutes. And like, I couldn't lift my hand, and I started laughing because they thought I was like messing with them. But I really had this experience where like my arm felt dissociated.
We want a demo. We want a demo.
What's that?
We want a demo.
So you guys want to learn the hand stick thing?
Yeah,
Should I give you a
Yes, please. Yes.
Do you want to do this as a call so that you can learn how to do it, or do you want to experience it now?
Experience it now and then teach them.
All right.
Both.
We can do a whole workshop, because when you learn how to do it, you can apply it to really whatever and whatever you want, any other hypnotic phenomenon that could happen in just moments. So first of all, I'm not going to teach it. I'll just have you experiencing it. So you all know that the best hypnotic subjects are the most successful people, Because successful people can take an idea from their conscious mind and implant it into their subconscious mind. And I know all of you are great hypnotic subjects, and you already know that hypnosis is really mainly focus and expectation. So as you allow yourself to guide your focus into the experience that your hand will stick, you can experience it and you can feel that. And you know your hand's not really stuck, but you're gonna have the experience because that's what you're focusing on. So find a flat surface and just allow your hand to gently rest on that surface. And you may give just a little push downward as you take your gaze right to the middle knuckle of your middle finger. And as you stare intently at that middle knuckle, imagine the molecules of your hand intermingling and mixing with the molecules of that surface. Imagining that hand melting, binding, locking in place on that surface. You may feel the muscles in your fingers or your palm twitching. You may feel them relaxing. Or you may feel the heaviness as that hand sticks even tighter. Imagining that there's a layer of glue between the surface and your hand. Noticing which is more stuck, your palm or your fingers. And as you realize which is more stuck, that feeling, that strange feeling may spread through your hand, up your arm. It may feel like there's little strings pulling that hand. In a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to have you imagine trying to attempt to lift that hand. And you'll notice that the harder you try, the more it sticks and the heavier it gets. And go ahead and really imagine trying to lift that hand and notice what happens instead. You may have the feeling that it's too much effort to even try attempting. And the harder you try, the more relaxed that hand gets and the deeper it sinks. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, your subconscious mind is going to give you a sense of growing confidence in your ability to focus, to learn, and to grow. And once that feeling of confidence is set in your subconscious mind, in your whole body, only then will your hand lift easily and automatically. Noticing the sensations and the changes in your hand as that feeling of confidence grows and rises steadily within you. Feeling more confident, more capable, and more free to be you. And as you feel those changes happening in your body, that hand may quickly or slowly begin to free itself. Just in time for you to be completely comfortable and confident.
Caitlin's face was a picture. She couldn't move her hand.
I usually do it quicker than that. I kind of went a little slower and drug it out a little bit. But generally, like you can feel it's almost like the texture of space changes around you when you're working with people in a live setting. Like there's a hypnotic frequency in the air. I don't know if any of you felt that, but did everybody have at least the feelings change in their hand and the experience of stuckness? Blaine, was that pretty strong for you?
I think the suggestion that, the molecules in your hand and the molecules of the surface just melting together and becoming, this one thing. I mean, that's a really good suggestion. It's great.
So I used a bunch of metaphors. I used a bunch of ways of thinking about it. I used some double binds. some presuppositions, you know, which is more stuck, your fingers or your palm? That seems to be the one that, like, as soon as somebody answers that question, they're done. Like they're just, there's no, you know, they're done. And so I asked that to that guy and he was like, my fingers. And as soon as he answered, I was like, oh, I knew I had him. So Blaine, I saw you unmuted, but we still couldn't hear you.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was,
there you are.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, brilliant. And the molecules, like literally the hand just went down into the table and I was saying, whoa, yeah, absolutely. But the confidence, oh, it was beautiful. Yeah. And then the hand started to unstick. Oh, great. Yay. Thank
And
you
it's
so much.
always great to throw in some positive suggestions when you're giving someone an experience too.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share?
Thank you.
I've done that a few times now, and that was the most powerful. Like I literally felt my muscles, trying to lift it. So that was the strongest. You started with successful people, do this.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So there's pre-framing there. I always do because I've done this before where I'm like, oh, does everybody want to try something? And I'll have them put their hand down. And as soon as they feel that like shift in energy or they start to feel like they're losing control, they'll lift their hand out of it and kind of do one of these things and stop. And which I just reframe it as like, oh, you were having the experience, weren't you? Like you were focusing on it in a way that you started to feel it. And then you focused on it differently because you're in control. So I can reframe it, but it's always better to give them like a motivation to be hypnotized. And so this is a whole other class, but this is where like my framing of hypnosis before I even attempt anything allows me to be successful because they agree successful people can take an idea from their conscious mind into their subconscious mind. And that's really what hypnosis is. And I told it with this guy too. I was like, I overcame all of his objections ahead of time. And I was like, a lot of people think hypnosis is where you lose control, but with this habit, it sounds like you're already out of control, doesn't it? So what if we used hypnosis to give you more control? What if you had even more control over your situation with the power of hypnosis? So the objection of I'm going to lose control, like that's gone. The idea that only weak-minded people can be hypnotized, that's blown out of the water. So now like whatever he has to do to like be a good subject, he's going to do it. And so that framing along with all the other techniques mixed in, it starts to make it so it can't not work. Like that's the goal, right? Not to get it right once in a while, but to get so good at all of these different aspects that it just always works. So
I felt like if my hand wasn't mine anymore, like if your hand is absolutely detached from your body.
Well,
That's-
you can see from that, Natalia, that's how people can get into a point where you can have, be operated on without any anesthesia. If you can hypnotize someone to the point like you had experience there where it didn't feel like it was your hand anymore, and you can
My hand is
suggest that.
freezing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And you can say, that's why it's possible. And until chloroform came along, in places like India, that was the go-to thing, hypnotize for dental and surgical work. It wasn't they brought, they just discovered or invented or chloroform. It was easy for everybody to do it. You didn't have to learn to do hypnosis. But up until then, it was the main thing they used
Yeah.
for all that kind of
And
surgical
even
stuff.
the thing is that I haven't experienced that a lot. I've done it in other people. In September, I hypnotized a guy in a piazza in Italy. I was in Verona, and the piazza was like 200 people. And when I told him what I did, he was like, I have a problem with communicating. And he was starting a new job as a sales guy. And I told him, do you want me to hypnotize you? And he was like, here with all this noise. And I said, yeah, you can do it. And what I did was looking at the hand and then getting it stuck in his, and I've got a video, I need to put it up. And he's totally like his finger is stuck to his forehead until I just give him the suggestion. When the problem is gone, his hand will naturally be unstuck from his forehead. And he didn't say, I think the problem is gone or anything, but all he said is like, I just feel this rush of energy. What happened? And he was so into it, even with hundreds of people around him drinking, like loud music. So it's also a good reminder that it doesn't have to be in a quiet environment, or
No,
it's
definitely
great
doesn't. No.
to experience something like this as the hypnotist.
Yeah,
Good.
no, that's the thing. You turn up and it's expectation, your expectation. If I'm doing impromptu hypnosis, I run this little loop in my head. I'm a great hypnotist, you're a great subject, and you're going to be hypnotized. So I run that in my head before you step up. Like you said, you become the hypnotist. But I did one simple thing on TikTok, and it got close to 1 million views. And it's a simple thing. We can all do it now if you like, And I think we've got rid of all our blocks down on the beach, but any other limitations? All you do this: take your middle finger and just put it in the middle of your head. Just put it on top of your head and close your eyes. Close your eyes and look up with your eyes closed. Look up through the top of your head where your finger is pressing on your head. Keep looking at it. Keep focused on it. Maybe picture the face of someone you love there. And as you picture that face, as you feel that love, I want you to notice your eyes are stuck. Keep looking up at that finger and try and open your eyes, find it stuck. That's right. Now your finger's stuck to your head. Try and pull your finger off your head. Find your finger stuck to your head. And the harder you try and pull your finger off your head, the tighter it gets stuck. In a moment, I'm going to say the word love, and your hand will come unstuck, your eyes will come unstuck, and any blocks you had to success will come unstuck as well. And you have a lightness of being you've never felt before. Get ready. As you hear that word, your finger comes unstuck, your eyes come unstuck, and every limitation comes unstuck. It's going to be incredible. Love. Yeah, there you go. See? So, you've got the ability, if you ever get an opportunity, let's be honest, this is a physiological thing. Because if you've got your eyes closed and you're looking up under your eyelids, you can't open your eyes. It's impossible. Try it. Just close your eyes, look up at the top, at the inside of your skull, try and open your eyes. You can't. It's physiological. But we're hypnotists. So the moment we say, because we've taken control, as Natalie was saying, she's a hypnotist in that point. And when you suggest your eyes can't open, your eyes are stuck, the moment they go like that, they think, oh no, I'm stuck. Too late. Now they're stuck. And if you connect that stuckness to any other stuck state in their life and say, in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers, say the word, and when that happens, it's going to come undone. And I did that little thing out in my garden and I put it out. There was like 800,000 views on TikTok and 25,000 followers overnight on that one simple thing. So you get an opportunity to do some of this stuff, have a go at it, have some fun. But remember to
Can
give
I
a
share?
positive suggestion on the end of it.
Can I share a little story about you, Freddie?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, you saw my ex-husband. I was still married. And he, I don't know if he still is, but the most skeptical guy. You saw him online and he came out of one of your sessions and he was like, he got my hand stuck to the desk. I can't believe, like, he got my hand stuck to the desk. A person who doesn't believe in anything, like, basically mock my profession all the years we were married. But he saw you for 4 sessions and he was like, that's incredible. Like, how does he do that? I think that he started to respect
And
what I
I
do
would
a
have
little bit
used
more.
his love for you as the lever, and he had no chance. For me, it's very simple. If I say, think about the person you love. If I said, think about
Uh,
the
I'm not sure about
Italians,
that. We are not married anymore.
and that's all we need to do. And if someone's killing themselves with their drugs or they're smoking or alcohol, and you're speaking to them and just in conversation, you ask, who do you love most? If they've got a child and you link that freedom to that child's well-being and that love, they're done. You're pretty certain they're not going to smoke again. And so, or do whatever it is. I don't find it complex anymore. And you're all doing it anyway. It's just recognizing that we can do it. But I'm so pleased you had that experience in because, in that group, in that place where the crowd was. It's such a good feeling when you
It
you
is.
realize you don't have to be in a quiet place. You don't have to be in a chair. to do
I'll
this
share the
work.
video with you.
And Natalia, you can turn that like back onto him with the communication thing and say, you know, hypnosis is really just unconscious communication. It's where your conscious mind communicates with your subconscious mind. Look at how incredible of a communicator you are to have that experience, right? And so now, like, all of that just starts to, you're feeding back to him, and it starts to change his beliefs. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's, I think one of the most important things that Freddie does and that I'm getting better at is just literally not caring if it works or not. Like, you just not really even having doubts, but just not caring, like just going for it. And I think that comes to an extent from having a bunch of ways to reframe what people think of as failure. So if somebody fails at it and they say, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized," I just say, "Wow, you're such a great hypnotist that you've hypnotized yourself to not be hypnotized." Or, you know, let me guess, you were focusing on the experience of your hand not sticking, or you were focusing on the experience of remembering your name instead of forgetting. And so I just always put it back on them, and I have reframes to overcome if it doesn't work. And so then I just get to a point where I really don't care if it works or not. And once you're there, people just do it. Like, they don't feel the doubt from you, so they just have the experience. And that's what gets fun. So Sarah, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so can I ask something a little off topic?
Sure.
So I spoke to this company, it's called R3 Health locally, but they do like red light therapy and hyperbaric chamber and everything. So it's functional medicine. And the guy, he was a young guy, like maybe 25, and he was my go-to guy. He was like the manager of events. And I everything was good, and then he kind of fell off the map. So I was persistent. I was kind of annoying, and I kept on calling and emailing. Finally got him on the phone, and he used the term snake oil to refer to hypnosis. Like, he screwed up the potential for me to have an event there, because he goes, "Well, I went around asking everyone what they thought about hypnosis." And I was like, well, nobody knows what it is. They don't really understand. I said, that's why I offered to come in and do a free, basically, event for all of the employees and just kind of introduce you guys to it. So I'm still like, I sent him a bunch of articles because he's like, I don't think there's any scientific evidence. And I was like, oh, there it is. So I sent him all the stuff, but he's so stubborn, and he's like the gatekeeper to the higher ups. Do either you or Freddie have any thoughts on that, on how I can kind of persuade him to at least open his mind? Because whatever I was doing wasn't working. It's like he's got this fear, I think is what it is. And I don't know how to get around that.
There's so many people that are open to it and that really need and want our help that to a certain extent, you almost don't need people who are skeptical. You know, that's one thing to consider. And the other thing is, before you go pitch something, to know your audience really well. And so if it would have been possible to know that he had these limiting beliefs about hypnosis, then you don't even use the word hypnosis, right? You frame it differently based on his needs. Now you're past the point where he's got this belief system and these triggers, and that word's putting him into a certain state. At this point, it's going to be a little tricky, I think. But
I'm still determined though.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, there's always a way, right? Find what he needs. See if there's a way to give him an experience or to reframe it. Like, you know, even the frames I talked about were successful. You know, it's really just taking an idea from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And wouldn't you agree that's really what all successful people do? You know, there's probably ways to frame it that resonate with him instead of he's probably thinking of stage hypnosis, you know?
And it's a shame because there's people who go there for weight loss, to obviously athletes, and I can help all of these people. And I know that, but he doesn't believe that. So maybe just.
Are you speaking to him on the phone?
Yeah, I actually went in person to meet with him initially.
Okay. Well, if you're on the phone, or even if you're in person, or whatever your message is. So let's say you take, you know, your whole message, but there are certain keywords like you will love hypnosis. Let's say those words. You will love hypnosis. Okay. If you put them in, but I don't know if you call it analogically marking it. So when I first started back in the early 90s, I didn't have a secretary. I had an answer phone, because if I was with someone, I didn't want to miss anybody. But my message on my answer phone, whatever it was, thanks for calling me, blah, blah, blah. But within that, it was, you will book a session, right? So within the thing, it wasn't you'll book a session, but within the paragraph, those words were you, blah, 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 book, blah, 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 a blah, 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 blah session. And I had one of these pens. And so I know you can hear that. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So I would read that out, but when I got to the words you, and then blah, 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 will, blah, 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 book, blah, 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 a, blah, 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 session. Right. So, but he was just listening to the whole, or the person that rang up would be listening to the message. But analogically, I think that's the word, the brain will pick out those words. So if you can think about the message you want, next time you speak to them on the phone, just have one of these pens ready. And then be ready for every time you hit one of those words that you want him to be stuck with, just click your pen. I don't know you're doing it. I think you've got some kind of strange, habit. But you're clicking your pen on those words and marking those words out. But the other thing to do is just find out what his any emotional trigger for him. If you can find anything about what moves him emotionally, and then trigger that emotion, and then give your suggestion. Remember, that's the easiest way. It's going to bypass any resistance. So there's a couple of things you can do. It's a bit sneaky.
That's fine.
But you will love it.
Yeah, Sarah, what works for me for weight loss is using Adele, apparently. Like Adele is such a huge driver. If you can say, oh, we want to lose all 50 pounds like Adele. And because she used hypnosis to turn her whole life around. So it was just like, and then everybody has
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
She has a clear picture, right? Everyone knows what she looked like before and then how she looks now. So it's kind of where you can get already the picture of, it wasn't just hypnosis. She did like a lot of workouts and stuff like that, but also just to get the motivation to do that and to release all the emotional blocks and all the stuff. So she's great if you want to convince somebody of weight loss.
Thanks, Jasmine.
And one of my real estate mentors, Ron LeGrand, always says, the way to, where was I going with this? He always says, make sure that no one deal is so important by having lots of other deals lined up. So if you have 20 people that you're working on booking these sessions with, for one, you're not going to care about if that guy books or not. And for two, you're not going to have that a feeling of neediness and needing it to work. And consequently, he'll be more likely to book with you. So just something to consider. But good for you for getting out there and doing workshops, and I'm sure you'll.
Well, I have yoga studios locally. I actually have 2 events this month, 2 yoga studios. So I'm not really focused on that guy anymore, but I'm still I would love to just convince him just because I'm sure, and just because it would be amazing to and actually have him go through hypnosis and experience that. So I'll probably just show up in person and maybe use some of these techniques and just see what happens.
Try and give them a demo, or just, ask anyone there if they'd like to experience some hypnosis, and then do some phenomena, and but remember, when you do it, make sure you give them a good suggestion afterwards that they want to book you to work with you. And never waste a good trance state.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Thank you, guys.
You will.
You're welcome.
Remember to do it.
Lynn, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to suggest that you give him an experience in person. Perhaps a bit of Ericksonian language, and put him into a trance without him.
I was trying to do that. Initially it was a meeting, so it was just all business, but that was what my offering was, hey, let me give your employees a free experience. And he was all on board with that. And then suddenly he just switched gears. So I think it was fear ultimately that was driving him. So, you know,
You know what, you have the ability, Sarah, to make people smile. So remember, any altered state is an opportunity to give someone a suggestion. You know, you make him smile. I've no doubt you've done that already. You know, and remember to be straight in there with a suggestion. See any change of emotion on his face, give him the suggestion. You'll want to try this. You know, your clients will love this. It's going to enhance your business. Think about what suggestion you're going to get them. And as soon as you make them smile, you make them laugh, you know, whatever, you know, any emotions, an opportunity to give that suggestion. You can
you
do
know,
it.
that pin idea, I'm going to start using that on my discovery calls. I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
why not? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you know, you just have it written out, and just so you've got your you know, a little bit of spill down, so it doesn't sound like you're reading it, but you know, when you're hitting those words that you want, the message you want, just analogically pick those words out.
I love it.
It's good, but I'm like doing embedded commands and presuppositions and future pacing, and that's too much for me to worry about, Freddie. But I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so quick question, and then we can sign off. But we do most of the stuff to put you all into trance, because I know most of you have studied hypnosis. You know a lot of these things, so we don't necessarily teach that many things. Would that be interesting to you to learn more techniques? Or do you just want to get on here and be hypnotized? Because this is, we're here for you guys. We could do both, but I'm curious to hear. What do you think?
I would love to learn more of what you do, Nick, because I think it's really powerful. I know you use NLP, and so I don't have training in NLP, so that's fascinating to me, but I would love both, honestly.
Okay. We can do that. And that's kind of what the story structure was set up as, like to learn the technique, and then I'm going to do hypnosis for you to put your story into your mind as well. So kind of combining both, I guess. I'm getting a bunch of messages here. Everyone says both. Okay. Well, we can start doing some more of that. Excellent. Well, it's been awesome seeing all of you. Freddie's going to he's like the Tin Man that's getting a new heart, and he's going to be good as new. And if he starts squealing like a pig, we'll know which heart they put in him next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some super glue on this one. Hatch it up, polish it up, put it back in, ready to go. I've got to meet for you in real life yet, so we're definitely meeting at some point, Sarah, at some point on the planet. So and I'm going to be, like I said, super powered up by then. So it's going to be good. Okay, well, I'll say goodnight to all of you. Doreen's eyes were stuck for a bit longer than I expected there earlier. But I'm glad she's got them open at last. It's always great to see you, Doreen. All right, we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All
See you
the
in a while.
best.
See you all next
Take care.
week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Great.